Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to the SHC Division of Business podcast. This is your host, Ethan Sisk, and today we'll be featuring the head coach of the cafeteria, Alex Tholl. In today's episode, we'll be talking about what goes on behind the scenes of Spring Hill's dining services, what led Alex to hospitality, and the special relationship cafeteria workers have with our students. Thank you for coming on, Alex.
Very welcome.
What is it like being the quarterback of the cafeteria?
The quarterback of the cafeteria. I wouldn't say quarterback. More of the head coach.
Head coach.
Quarterback would be, I would consider like a support staff, where they're the ones that run the field, their team on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of my managers. She manages the cafeteria, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be my quarterback. So she has the freedom to call the plays, do what she needs to run her side of the business, and I'm kind of the head coach, helping her and guiding her in the right directions. So more of the head coach, offering guidance, not only with the cafeteria, but for my other support staff with like McKinney's,
Mm-hmm.
Einstein's,
Mm-hmm.
golf shop.
And Elizabeth, she's also with Aramark.
Yes.
Did you choose her to be like on your team, or did Aramark kind of put y'all two together here at Spring Hill?
I started Spring Hill summer of 2019. At that time, I had a salaried manager, Melanie, that was over the cafeteria, and we knew she was going to retire in 2021, especially after COVID and
Mm-hmm.
her age. I hired Elizabeth January of 21 to backfill that position. So when Melanie retired that May, it was an easy transition for Liz to step in.
Gotcha. Is the food in the caf served off of menu items, or do you leave it to the creativity of our wonderful workers?
Workers, we do ask for input from our staff.
Mm-hmm.
We also ask input from students.
Mm-hmm.
But by default, we go by a 4-week cycle menu. So before fall semester, what we do, we spend a great deal of time creating our menus for all the stations. We create breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch, weekend dinner. We create 4 weeks of a menu. And then throughout the semester, those 4 weeks just cycle and start back over. And then we can make edits throughout the semester if needed to. So if we have a pork dish that just students don't like, we can remove off the menu and add something else.
Gotcha.
We have a dining committee meeting that we coordinate with SGA. And in that meeting, we pull, or rather, they'll invite like students from housing, from different organizations, RAs,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get kind of input. Many things among them is the food choices,
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of utilize all the information and the data and from surveys to create menus.
So, do you try and keep the dollar amount of the meals served, like the cost to y'all, the same each week, or some weeks like, higher quality items, and then it's less expensive ones the next, to balance the same budget for the 4 weeks?
I have a food budget that I have, and it's a spending budget, and then the criteria for the cafeteria is a plate cost, so cost per meal.
Yes.
So for every meal swipe that comes in the door, we're allotted a certain dollar value to feed that swipe. It depends on, weeks can change. So if 1 week, if I'm doing a steak dinner, or when we do, ice cream, we did the Sunday bar last week. Of course, Sunday bar is going to be on the lower cost side for us. So that helps us cost, and then we can do like tuna or salmon on the Cure Personalis station.
I love those days.
Yeah.
Salmon.
Oh, no doubt. So it fluctuates from week to week, but
Yeah.
overall, I do have a budget to stay within.
Can you disclose how much that is in 4 weeks?
I can't disclose what it is, but it is a pretty good budget. Um, and even if I go over the budget, I can justify it by, we did tuna this day, or we did like when we did Carnival Day
Hmm.
a few weeks back.
Yeah.
That's going to definitely add to that budget. Hence, we do like smoothies sometimes, or the Sunday bar. They kind of offset that extra cost.
Gotcha. Is the budget that's Spring Hill's money, and then Aramark just tax on like a percentage for its workers, or how does that work?
It's not. So we take the burden on all the costs.
Hmm.
So Aramark, we pay the staff, we pay for the food, we pay for the incidentals or the direct costs. So the cups, the plates, the smallwares, the spoons to serve the meal.
Yeah.
And then what we do with our contract with the school, we bill back um, for the meal plan holders. So if there's 700 meal plan holders, we bill back rates based on the meal plan holders. But we burden the cost. So if I blow my food cost out of the water,
Hmm.
that's on me. The school doesn't take any burden on that cost.
Hmm. So then the school just takes a percentage of the meal plan costs, and then the rest of my meal plan goes to y'all.
So Aramark doesn't set the meal plan pricing.
Yes.
We have in our contract a price that we bill back to the school. Anything over that, the school, I assume, keeps the difference.
Okay.
We call it override. So, unlimited plan or the all access plan is, I think for next fall, 2,900
Around
plus or
there,
minus. I only see a smaller portion of that,
Yeah. Hmm.
and the school keeps
Gotcha.
the rest for profit, or we call it override.
Hmm. I've noticed that there's been a change in silverware in the calf from metal to plastic.
Yes.
Why is that?
30-year-old dish machine.
Gotcha.
So the dish machine we have, if you're aware, the student center got rebuilt. Oh gosh, 14 years ago, I think it was. They pulled the old dish machine out, built the new building, and threw the old dish machine back in there. So we've been having issues with that for the last couple of years.
Hmm.
If you've been a student for a couple of years, about a little over a year ago, the dish machine was down for 10 months, just waiting for repairs and parts and pieces getting replaced. And we were on paper and plastic then.
Hmm.
Dish machine got fixed. Yet again, it's broken, so we're back to paper. We do have conversations within Aramark and with the school of getting it replaced, exploring purchasing new versus lease options there's a couple chemical companies, Ecolab and Diversey, that offer lease programs that are pennies on the dollar versus buying a brand new one.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some.
How many plates can the dish machine wash at once?
It's on a conveyor, so we can load. I mean, it's as far as as much as the conveyor can hold. So you just stack them in the conveyor, and as they exit the other side, then we just stack them and put them up.
So it's like a car wash, kind of?
Pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
How much supply chain is involved in the purchasing of, different food items to make meals? I'd assume that it's a lot more involved for the calf than Einstein's and McKinney's, because those two are the regular items.
They are. Supply chain is a huge portion of what we deal with, more so at the corporate level, as far as securing contracts, securing vendors, preferred vendors. On the local level or the account level, we have our set purveyors like Cisco for food.
Mm-hmm.
you are right with like Einstein's, whereas the menu is static and it doesn't change. So it's an easy maneuver around the supply chain. What we run into with the calf is, although most everything comes from Cisco, we use a company in New Orleans for fresh fish. We have our produce company. Some produce, not in season produce, sometimes we can't get, but the bulk of the supply chain comes from Cisco and the companies that they have to supply.
Gotcha. So for Aramark's, all their contracts, are they with Cisco for all of them, or is it just this specific?
So Cisco's a national contract with Aramark.
Gotcha.
So there's dozens of Cisco warehouses
Yeah.
around the country. Our Cisco warehouse is in New Orleans. We get truck 3 times a week, so it's easy for us to order food as needed. And we try to order food. We look at the following week, and we try not to keep food in-house more than a week. That way, it just turns over. It's fresh. But Cisco's national contract, and then Aramark has agreements with specific companies like Ken's Dressing or Heinz Ketchup. We'll see Heinz Ketchup in the calf versus Hunt's, because Heinz is a preferred vendor. Preferred vendor for coffees, preferred vendor for chicken. So Tyson Chicken is a preferred vendor versus other chicken processors. And it can change, like down here everybody likes Coke. But if you go up north and out west, you'll see more of the Pepsi products and those Pepsi contracts.
Interesting.
And the schools usually hold those contracts. So Spring Hill holds the contract with Coke. So all the vending machines, all that goes through Coke. And then we just follow suit within that contract with the CAF.
So Coca-Cola owns the vending machines, or is it? No, it's someone else, but it's just Coke products going through.
I would assume Coke owns the machines,
Yeah,
and services the machines, and then they put in the product, and then I would assume the school would get a portion or percentage of the sales from the vending.
I've got a buddy that has 3 vending machines, and I help him with it sometimes. We just go to Sam's and pick up a mass of stuff and put it in.
Right.
I'm sure he'd love a contract with Coke.
Yeah.
What made you want to get into hospitality?
Just the outgoing nature of it. I'm a people person. When I first started school years ago, I was working to get into finance, international business specifically. And I had a friend that was an accountant and a banker, and just seeing his day-to-day in a cubicle and crunching numbers, I can't do that.
Not it.
So when I started school at Ole Miss, I switched to hospitality. And then when I moved down to Mobile in 2010, I ended up finishing my undergrad at South and my MBA at South. But I've been with Aramark almost 16 years.
Wow.
And absolutely love it. It's hospitality has its challenges, but overall dealing with the people, helping people, knowing that, we're feeding the student body. I love working with the students.
And I love being served by y'all. It feels like all the
appreciate it.
All the ladies in the caf, they're all just like second moms, and they're golden.
Right. I appreciate that.
And how'd that team come about? So those are Aramark employees as well.
They are Aramark employees. We have some that have been here for 20 plus years. So like Miss Irish, our baker, she's been here as long as I can remember, 23, 24 years.
Wow.
Mike has been here that long as well. And then some of the newer employees like Miss Tina, she actually worked for me at South. And then when I came over here, I brought her over here. And so a lot of the employees we've hired over the last 5-6 years. There are a few that have been here for 20 plus years.
That's great.
Yep.
Are food orders filled 4 weeks in advance? Also for Einstein's and
They're not.
McKinney's?
They're weekly.
Weekly.
Yep. So like Einstein's, Mika keeps.
Mika's huge too.
Yeah,
She's very special.
she's awesome. So Mika keeps. She has it in storage, but she does a weekly truck that she orders
Gotcha.
and gets in. Storage is also limited, but also, especially produce, you don't want to keep for more than a few days because then you want the freshest possible.
Mm-hmm. You worked at South before
Mhm.
coming to Spring Hill? Was that directly after school? You just got on?
So when I graduated high school, I'm going to give my age, in 2000, I did a few years at a junior college, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi.
Gotcha.
Then I moved to Ole Miss, started Aramark part-time up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then became full-time, and then moved to Mobile in 2010 for a job opportunity with Aramark at South.
Okay.
So I was the director of catering there for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 3 years there, I was managing the cafeteria over there.
And then you came into the general manager role at Spring Hill?
Correct. Yep.
Is there also one general manager at South, or
There is.
Okay, because I'm sure it's a lot larger operation.
It is. It is. So Brad is my counterpart over there as a GM. Because the school is larger and there's a lot more departments over there. So they got the Chick-fil-A, the Starbucks, the Moe's.
Yeah.
They have, the cafeteria is a lot bigger scale than what we do.
Yeah.
He has 8 or 9 salary managers on his support staff, where I only have one other salary manager.
Mm-hmm.
But give you a comparison, when I was there, again, pre-COVID, at the dining hall, we did a little over 12,000 meals a week.
Wow.
And then over here, I do about 4,000 meals a week. So the scale is a lot different here than it is over there. I stay busy, but it's a different pace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's Aramark's role in the franchises, like the Chick-fil-A and the Moe's? How are they involved in those at South?
So we hold the licensee, so what we
Okay.
consider licensee for those brands. So just take Starbucks at South, or even our little watered down version here. They're still Aramark employees. They get paid by Aramark, but they operate under the Starbucks brand standards.
Mm-hmm. And they're in the uniforms and stuff.
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha. How did you get so good at Jenga? We had I guess, like life-size Jenga
The big
blocks
Jenga?
in the calf, and Alex here is a wizard.
I have a 9 and 6-year-old at home,
Aw.
and so we play a lot of I'll call it the baby Jenga now that we have that big one.
Yeah.
We've had that big Jenga a couple years now,
Mm.
and every so often I'll pull it out and put it on that rolling table and watch the kids have fun with it.
Yeah.
When I first did it a couple years ago, it was during a holiday shutdown, and it was about 4 of us on the staff. One game took 40 minutes, but it's fun. The record is 28 complete levels,
Wow.
so we haven't been able to go over 28 complete levels. So once you do the 3, then that's a complete level.
Mhm.
So 28's our record so far.
That's close to the ceiling, huh?
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah.
Who volunteered you for the dunk tank?
My staff.
The wonderful staff.
Yeah, that we were planning the carnival day, and I think it was Chef Bree, that had the idea
Mhm.
of doing the dunk tank, and then someone in the conversation was, we'll throw Alex in there. They had fun. Miss Irish,
Yeah, it was
Miss
great seeing it
Tina,
all.
Bree, yeah, they all took their shots.
It's a big old family. I love it.
It is.
What goes on inside the periodic huddles y'all have?
So we do a couple huddles a week, usually between breakfast and lunch, so about 10:15, 10:30. Um, Aramark is really big into safety,
Mm-hmm.
food safety, of course, um, personal safety. So we have safety topics each week. So this week it's cuts and lacerations. So one of the focus is wearing cut gloves. Anytime anybody has a knife in their hand, they have a cut resistant glove. So in case they touch themselves with a knife, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get a cut.
Mm-hmm.
So we go over the safety topic for the week. We go over just kind of generic information of what's going on for that week. We talk about menu changes. We talk about each station so that if somebody's working at the salad bar, they know what's being served at the home station. So if a student comes up, "Ooh, what's over there?" they can answer
Mm-hmm.
what the menus are. Any recognitions for that are coming up, birthdays or anniversaries. Um, I always try to ask, or tell me something good. I'll turn to Mike. Tell me something good. That's not your typical answer is like, "Oh well, I'm alive," or "Sky is the sun's shining." I'm like, give me something personal, something good, right? Um, and my 9-year-old had his first soccer tournament this past weekend and won both games. So that's something good,
It is.
right? That kind of opens them up too to talk about
Yeah.
their personal or their life or what's going on beyond work.
Mm-hmm. I feel like once one of them gets opened up, then it kind of feeds off to everyone.
It does. One thing I learned a long time ago is people love to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get somebody to open up, then it just snowballs from there,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Mm-hmm. As a leader, how important do you feel it is to know not only the work side but like the home side of employees?
I think it's important because you make that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now I don't pursue or try to get too personal with the staff unless they volunteer the information.
Mm-hmm.
Good information is dogs at home, um, things like that. Um, Unless the staff opens up and wants to talk about more personal issues, then of course I'm there for them. Um, but they're more than just an employee number.
Mm-hmm.
They're Shawanda, she's been at the salad bar. She's more than just employee number. She's
Mm-hmm.
more than just a smile on the face, and she's got a great smile and great attitude. But she does have personal life, and she has opened up, and um, so knowing what an employee is going through, I can follow up with them. Say, hey, last week this is going on. Is there anything I can help you with? Is there conclusion? Um, and that just makes that connection.
Yeah.
Because again, they're more than just a warm body. I'm more than just a warm body. Um, I don't tend to dive too deep into my personal life, but my staff know I have 2 kids at home. Both play soccer. They know basic personal things.
Mm-hmm.
So
What are some typical problems that can arise in the day to day of Spring Hill's dining services?
my dish machine not working.
Yeah.
um, we've had issues with supply chain, ordering a product not being available, so we have to substitute items.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an example with a couple years ago, right after COVID, was with chicken. We order, bone-in chicken, and it wasn't available, so we had to make a menu substitution. So that day might have been a beef dish or a pork dish. Hasn't been so much lately. Um, Staff calling out, and I think that's everywhere. That's a lot of companies. I think right now our biggest hurdle is hiring. And I know a lot of companies struggle with that post-COVID, where people either don't want to work or it's just hard to find good staff.
Mm-hmm.
We've had, I guess this semester alone, probably six interviews. We've hired 6, and then they didn't show up for the first day of work. So then it's back to applicants, back to interviewing. And the time we put into you know screening applications, getting them in, interviewing, going through the hiring process. Every applicant that we hire goes through a basic background check. Then you got all the paperwork with it, so it could be a 2-week process, and then for somebody to not show up, it just makes it hard.
Yeah.
Now I'm 2 weeks down. Now I gotta, so it makes it difficult. It hasn't been impossible, but it's not definitely not as easy as it used to find
Gotcha.
people.
What are some typical like contracts that Aramark has? So, school dining halls. What other businesses do they service typically?
With Aramark,
Yes.
so Aramark has I think 11 different divisions. So we are in the higher education division, so colleges, universities. We are in about 2,200 colleges, universities across
Wow.
the United States. We have a sports and entertainment division, so we're in half of the NFL stadiums. You're looking at baseball stadiums, hockey. Um, we have a correctional facility division, so in prison systems with the commissaries. We have a healthcare division, and for hospitals, K through 12 for middle school, high school, and of course we see here in Mobile a lot the linen division. So they do the bar towels, aprons, all the linen, floor mats.
Yeah.
So, but Aramark is a large corporation.
It truly seems that way.
Yeah,
Is there a different division you'd ever consider working for?
not correctional facilities. My wife made it clear, it's like, you're not going to work for. I don't know. I think it would be fun to work in sports entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like when we go to a couple Braves games every year. I know at Turner Field it was an Aramark account, so it was interesting to pick their minds of what goes on in their world.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they moved to the new stadium, I don't know if it's Aramark or not, but what I love about higher education, among among a lot of things, but one is we follow the academic calendar. So essentially, my life is 32 weeks a year that we focus on. So we get downtime during the summer, we get downtime during the holiday break
Mm-hmm.
that we can take advantage of.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so I know within a sports entertainment division, like with the football season, I mean, from August to end of football season, it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
So
What can students do to make your job and the cafeteria workers' job a bit easier? I know I personally go for like 5 or 6 plates each meal, which can't help the cost.
and that's fine. It's all you care to eat. So we don't mind students to do that. And there are students that only grab one plate, so it balances out. But I don't think there's really one thing that I always ask the students is provide feedback.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know something isn't right or something's wrong, I can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, we do the dining committee. We meet a couple times a semester. We meet with the SGA representative every couple weeks, and they're kind of the liaison between us and the student body. But any feedback, positive or negative, a lot of things that we do is a result of feedback. So like the Starbucks in McKinney's was a result of feedback. Bringing in the hibachi station and the Cure Personality station, the healthy station, was a result of feedback. So we drive on that. So just open communication with the students, getting that feedback, knowing what's wrong, what's right, how can we fix what's wrong? If we're doing something right, can we make it even better? So feedback is definitely one thing that would help us out a lot.
Gotcha.
And bring our plates and cups back.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask about.
So it where the caf is, just in the middle of the student center, it's just kind of open. Um, Students tend to walk off with plates and cups, those tumblers. Give me an example. Last fall, we went through, oh gosh, like 1,800 cups that were accounted for and then lost. And so we find ourselves each month buying a few hundred tumblers. Now, we would rather use plates and cups than the plastic and the paper, by all means. That's also why we put, when you see the hard plastic tumblers, we put the to-go plastic cups next to them, trying to encourage, don't take the tumbler, take the plastic cup.
Yeah.
But students will still...
Horrible.
You can bet Miss Pat will chase them down if she sees.
She will. She's one of my favorites in the caf for sure.
Yeah.
I call her my grandma, and she calls me her grandson.
Oh,
that's great.
But yeah, we've last few weeks been working with Walker. He's been going to the different residence halls and trying to collect plates and cups for us. So that's been nice.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's going to come back to us in the meal plan if, so we're only hurting ourselves.
Yeah, I joked to him, we'll start serving those little paper cone cups that you see at the water fountains. Joking, of course, but.
Well, I really appreciate you and your service to Spring Hill.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
The caf's definitely something that puts a smile on my face every day, seeing
good
buffets and happy people to serve me. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
I would like to personally thank everyone who tuned into this episode of the SHC Division of Business podcast. Our aim is to give young professionals insight into their desired field or potential job of choice. If you gained anything from this, or have any compassion whatsoever, please share with someone you see fit.